The craziest part about Richard Childress getting back behind the wheel isn't just that he's 80 years old. It's that somehow, Cleetus McFarland convinced one of NASCAR's most legendary team owners to come out of retirement and race again. And the second fans heard about it, the entire NASCAR world started reacting. Because nobody expected Richard Childress to seriously strap back into a race car in 2026. Especially not for an event connected to Cleetus McFarland. But now, it's officially happening. And honestly, this story gets even crazier the deeper you look into it. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly why Richard Childress agreed to do this, what Cleetus McFarland had to do with it, why NASCAR fans are suddenly so interested in the event, and why this might become one of the most talked about crossover moments of the entire year. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. Richard Childress has spent decades building one of the biggest organizations in NASCAR history. From Dale Earnhardt's legendary championships to modern stars driving for Richard Childress Racing, Childress has already cemented himself as one of the most important figures the sport has ever seen. That's why this announcement shocked so many people. Most fans assumed Richard Childress was completely done with competitive racing himself. Sure, he still shows up around the garage. He still speaks with drivers. He still plays a major role inside RCR. But physically getting back inside a race car and competing again at 80 years old? Almost nobody saw that coming. And then, Cleetus McFarland entered the picture. Now, if you followed Motorsports online over the last few years, you already know Cleetus has become one of the biggest automotive creators in the world. What started as YouTube entertainment slowly turned into something way bigger. Massive racing events. Huge crowds, sold-out tracks, millions of views online. And somehow, Cleetus created a style of motorsports content that traditional racing fans and the younger internet audiences both enjoy watching. That's part of what makes this entire situation so fascinating. Because this isn't just another random exhibition race announcement, this feels like two completely different generations of motorsports colliding together. On one side, you have Richard Childress, a true old-school NASCAR legend. And on the other side, you have Cleetus McFarland, a modern internet personality who helped bring a completely different audience into racing culture. Normally, those worlds don't really overlap this much. But suddenly, they are. And according to the reports surrounding the announcement, Richard Childress isn't treating this like some lighthearted publicity stunt either. Apparently, he still drives aggressively. That line alone immediately grabbed NASCAR fans' attention. Because once people heard that, the conversation instantly changed from "this is cool" to "wait, is Richard Childress actually going to send it?" And honestly, that's exactly why this story exploded online so quickly. Fans love seeing legends return. But there's also something genuinely entertaining about seeing somebody who helped shape NASCAR decades ago suddenly stepping into an event connected to modern motorsports entertainment culture. It feels unpredictable. And unpredictability is what creates viral moments. What's also interesting is how much respect Cleetus has earned lately from people inside the racing world. A few years ago, a lot of traditional motorsports fans didn't fully know what to think about him. Some people viewed the content as just chaotic entertainment. Others thought it was only for YouTube audiences. But over time, that perception started changing. Because Cleetus didn't just stay online making videos, he actually kept racing, kept improving, kept showing up at real events, and kept proving he genuinely cares about motorsports culture. That consistency matters. And now you're seeing established NASCAR figures become more comfortable working with him publicly. Richard Childress agreeing to race in this event might be one of the biggest examples of that yet. Because legends like Childress usually protect their image carefully. They don't jump into random things unless they actually see value in them. So the fact this collaboration is happening tells you something important. The motorsports world is changing. The line between traditional racing and creator-driven racing entertainment is becoming smaller every single year. And honestly, younger fans are a huge reason why. A lot of new viewers discover racing today through YouTube clips, social media moments, live streams, and creators like Cleetus McFarland before they ever sit down to watch a full NASCAR race. That would have sounded impossible 15 years ago. Now it's reality. And whether longtime NASCAR fans fully like it or not, creators are becoming a real part of motorsports culture. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because people aren't just talking about Richard Childress returning, they're also talking about what kind of energy this event could create overall. Cleetus events already attract massive audiences because fans know almost anything can happen. The atmosphere is loud, the racing gets chaotic, and viral moments happen constantly. Now add an 80-year-old NASCAR legend into that environment. Immediately, curiosity skyrockets. Even people who normally wouldn't care about the event are suddenly paying attention just to see how Richard Childress looks behind the wheel again. And honestly, there's also an emotional side to this. For older NASCAR fans, seeing Childress race again brings back memories of a completely different era of the sport. An era that felt rougher, more unpredictable, more old school. Meanwhile, younger fans see it as something almost unbelievable. An iconic team owner stepping back into competition at 80 years old sounds like something straight out of a movie script. That combination creates huge interest online. And the timing of all this matters too. Cleetus has already been gaining momentum recently because of his growing involvement around NASCAR-related events and racing conversations. More fans inside the NASCAR community are starting to follow what he's doing, especially after some of his recent racing appearances where he showed legitimate improvement behind the wheel. People began realizing this wasn't just somebody playing race car driver for content anymore. Cleetus genuinely wants to compete, and while he still brings entertainment energy to everything he does, there's clearly real passion there too. That's probably part of why someone like Richard Childress would even entertain this idea in the first place. Because racers respect passion. Even across completely different generations, that part never changes. And honestly, this entire thing could end up helping NASCAR more than people realize. Why? Because moments like this bring different audiences together. Old-school NASCAR fans want to see Richard Childress. Younger internet audiences want to see Cleetus McFarland. And suddenly, both groups are watching the same event. That's valuable for motorsports. Especially right now when racing organizations constantly talk about trying to grow younger audiences without completely losing longtime fans. This crossover somehow does both at the same time. But there's still one thing fans are most curious about. How competitive is Richard Childress actually going to be? Because if he climbs into that car and starts driving harder than people expect, this story could become way bigger than it already is. And based on the reactions online, fans genuinely believe he's going to take this seriously. That's what makes the anticipation feel real. Nobody wants to miss the possibility of seeing an 80-year-old NASCAR legend suddenly reminding everybody why racers never truly lose that competitive instinct. And honestly, if Richard Childress ends up having a strong showing, the internet reaction afterward is going to be absolutely massive. Especially with Cleetus McFarland involved documenting the entire experience for millions of viewers online. Because at that point, this stops being just a cool announcement. It becomes one of those rare motorsports moments people keep talking about long after the race is over. And that's exactly why NASCAR fans are suddenly so locked into this story right now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below letting us know Do you think Richard Childress still has what it takes behind the wheel? And could this become one of the wildest motorsports crossover moments we've seen in years? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.